Welcome to Retail Focus, brought to you by 14:59 p.m. Retail Focus provides insightful, timely, and engaging discussions on the latest trends, news, and developments in retail, e-commerce, and technology. We aim to inform and inspire professionals, enthusiasts, and anyone curious about the evolving landscape of these industries. And now, here are your hosts, Suder and Bart Mroz.
Support for Retail Focus comes from Nerve Tonic Brand. Born in 2012 out of sheer boredom and questionable decisions, Nerve Tonic Brand has somehow defied the odds and logic to become a powerhouse online lifestyle brand. What started as a whim has transformed into a global hub of edgy clothing, snarky accessories, and unapologetic lifestyle essentials for those who prefer their style with a side of sarcasm. Sign up for the newsletter today to score 10% off your first order and stay ahead of the game with exclusive drops and discounts. That's nervetonicbrand.com, your style elixir. Hello, welcome to Retail Focus. I'm John Suder, and this is my partner in all the crimes, Mr. Bart Mroz.
Go Birds, buddy. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Before we get started today, Bart, why don't you tell me what your awesome thing is this week? And I know what it's going to be, but go ahead anyway.
I mean, come on. This is only one best day. Our Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's quite a week. Our Eagles won the Super Bowl. Pitchers and catchers reported yesterday, so baseball's just around the corner. That is my jam. I will be relentless and insufferable about baseball this year, so get ready.
That's right.
All right, let's jump into it. Let's explore the exciting world of tariffs and their impact on e-commerce. It's been quite the ride. All right, so here's the deal. And this is as of the recording today, February 13th. So it's a moving target, so things could change. On February 1st, President Trump dropped a tariff bomb. We're talking about new tariffs on imports from Canada, Mexico, and China. So what does that mean to Mr. and Mrs. Consumer? 25% extra on stuff from Canada and Mexico and 10% more on Chinese goods. Canada Energy got a slightly better deal at only 10%. Now, here's where it gets interesting for e-commerce. Initially, these tariffs were supposed to kill off something called the de minimis exemption. That's fancy talk for the rule that lets small packages under $800 slip through without duties. This would have been huge for anyone buying cheap stuff directly from places like China. But wait, there is more. On the 7th, Trump hit the pause button on this part of the plan. So for now, all your cheap AliExpress orders are safe. But here's the kicker. Nobody knows for how long. It feels like we're all just waiting for the other shoe to drop. So what does this mean for e-commerce? It's a mixed bag. Chinese sellers are sweating bullets, not knowing what comes next. U.S. shoppers might see prices creep up on sites like Shein and Temu. Big platforms like Temu are scrambling to rework their entire supply chains, and everyone's bracing for the possible retaliation from other countries. Bottom line, e-commerce is in for a wild ride this year. Companies are scrambling to figure out where to source products, how to price them without scaring off customers, and where to ship from without tanking their margins. It's basically a big game of chess, except the board is on fire, the pieces keep moving themselves, and nobody's quite sure what the rules are anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a big one.
It is. Listen, tariffs can be used for certain things, right? Cross tariffs, that's kind of crazy. Consumers are just they're going to pay for it. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's not only like the goods itself. I think it's also, packaging and all those little things, right? And it's just, it has a downward effect too. It's going to go across the board.
I don't want to use the term trickle down, but yes, that's...
No, it goes across the board. It's a domino effect of everything, right? Yeah, I mean, you can use senseless tariffs makes no sense. You can use tariffs. I mean, listen, we do tariffs on other countries, but they're used a certain way, not across the board. And that's the scary part of this. It's we're going to do a tariff. We're not going to do a tariff. There's retaliation. There's this. It scares the market, It's just scares the market like crazy. So, I mean, we got to kind of handle like ups and downs of what the market would look like.
Yeah, anecdotally, as you know, I run an e-commerce shop, but I check in with other e-commerce shop owners, and they're saying that January was flat. Now, it's always flat in January, but they think that people are just kind of holding on to their wallets and going, yeah, should I wait? Should I wait? So there's going to be some pain.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like whatever you think politically, throwing chaos all over the place is like, not a great thing. I mean, it scares people. You know what I mean? People are going to start holding a purse, and not even like I'm talking about regular people. People are like, well, we're not going to buy stuff, but also the market.
Yeah,
you know, the corporations going to be like,
yep, hold on.
Yeah, hold on. What are we doing?
Yeah. Get the scary R word, recession, which could,
Yeah, I mean, look at the number just came out yesterday. Inflation ticked up in January. Not by a lot, but it still ticked up.
Unemployment was a little higher than they thought.
Unemployment was a little higher. Inflation went up. They're keeping their rates the same. So they're not going to, I bet you they won't. I'm pretty confident that they're not going to change the rates at all this year.
Right.
And if it changes, inflation keeps them going up, then they'll change it up again instead of staying it down. So then you're playing an interesting game, right? Now, if it goes up, then you're playing where's your money and like where you put that, like do you spend it? So there's definitely some chaos that's not going to be great. Listen, there's overall some people will make money, but your average consumer will not buy stuff.
Is there any good news hidden in this wrapper of insanity?
I don't know. It's so a barrage of news all the time right now. Is like, you kind of got to like put your blinders on and go, all right, where do I fit in and play?
I'm trying to see where the opportunities are, but like we keep saying, it's a moving target and I don't know where the opportunities are right now.
I mean, the idea for them is always, we'll make things domestically. The problem with that, in my opinion, is that it's going to take years.
It's going to take decades, because just saying that we're going to do it domestically, you have to build out the infrastructure for it. You have to train
with who, how, like there's all those questions.
It's a Gordian knot on top of a Gordian knot wrapped in an onion that has peels of.
Yeah, I mean, even I think the CEO of Ford came out yesterday. He's like, if somebody starts capping, I need to close my plants.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've already seen one print on demand guy just throwing a towel. Tech gear launch, they just said, sorry, bro, can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean listen, in e-com, especially in those kind of businesses, in the smaller e-com, the margins are small.
Sure.
So you kill that. People are not going to buy t-shirts for $50 off of print on demand stuff.
No, they are not.
They're not, right? Like they're barely buying the $20, right? And they're not buying a lot of it. Like, yeah, there's a t-shirt or two because I love the design of it, but you're not going to you're not going to buy a lot of them. So all of a sudden you're kind of screwed. So
you're choosing between $15 eggs and $15 t-shirt. I think you're going to go for the eggs every time.
Yeah. So there's just that domino effect everywhere.
So I want you to see my new e-commerce store, johnnyseggs.com. You can get a dozen shipped to your house directly for only $32.95.
That's actually pretty not bad.
Not too bad. Liberty, not too bad. All right, let's move on. Apple's enterprise push. Apple is exploring small and medium-sized businesses and enterprise markets as potential new revenue streams, launching a new partner program. And it's not just about iPhones and iPads anymore. They're making a play for the business world, specifically targeting small and medium-sized businesses. They're going back to their roots. Apple sees a huge opportunity with smaller businesses. They know a ton of companies already using iPhones and Macs for work. Now they want to make it even easier and more attractive for SMBs to go all in on Apple. The key to Apple's strategy? They're launching a whole new partner program in fall 2025 to get resellers and service providers on board. There are 4 new segmentations across enterprises, SMB, and education. It's all about creating a team of experts to help businesses use Apple products effectively. Apple's not just throwing partners into the deep end, they're providing training through Apple Professional Academy. We're talking about self-paced videos, skill building, and technical resources. Also, some Apple stores now have dedicated teams to assist SMBs at every level. Apple's got a suite of tools specifically for business. The Apple Business Connect, a free tool to customize your business's look on Apple Maps and other services. Apple Business Essentials, a subscription service that bundles device management, support, and cloud storage. It's like an IT department in a box. And, of course, Tap to Pay on iPhone. Turn your iPhone into a contactless payment terminal. So why does this matter? Well, Apple already has a massive base of users, and they want to turn them into business customers too. The numbers don't lie. At 2.3 billion devices, Apple is looking for growth for enterprises and SMBs. App developers, listen up. Apple has a small business program that gives you a lower commission rate on the App Store. That's a big incentive to create apps for SMBs. The takeaway here, Apple has its sights set on the SMB market and they're throwing serious cash at it to make sure you'll notice. Will it be a game-changing success or just another overpriced experiment? That's still up for debate, but if you run a small business, you might want to keep your eye on what Cupertino is cooking. If you're a SMB, are you using Apple products or are you still using those little old Windows machines that you got? That never, will never. You remember the E machines? They said,
I remember those. Yeah. I mean, like terminals and stuff like that. I mean, if you're a small business, it depends what you're doing.
Yeah. See, the Apple still has that stigma of they're expensive.
Yeah. I mean, they are, but it's a great machine. I think going back to trying to get into SMB again is interesting. They used to do it.
Yeah. When I was first coming up back in the olden days, back when photographs were black and white, we had Apple calling on us all the time for our art department and selling us stuff because they were really focused on, that was their strategy, getting into creative departments back when computers were just starting to first be part of the design process. And they had third-party squads like literally swarming us, just trying to sell us stuff all the time. And it was good because you could negotiate for price. I mean, there wasn't too much of a wiggle room, but it was still good and you had that kind of service. And then they kind of, CEOs cycle through, and then now all of a sudden, Jobs is gone and you got Tim Cook. And I think they're finally realizing that no one's going to buy the phone as it comes out every year, and they got to like pivot to something else. And they have a core business with the laptops, and I think they kind of neglected that for a little bit. Not neglect, but kept the spotlight on the iPhone and the iPad. But
I mean, yes,
I think computers. Their computers are outstanding. I mean, I've used a Mac since the 80s, and I can count on my left hand the number of times I've had serious problems with the hardware and software.
Yeah, I think that also, like, for creatives, obviously it's one of the best, things to do, but also like programs, a lot of programs use Apple because it just made sense for them because they can do it all. So you have a great machine that runs really fast with the new chipsets. It's insane. It's awesome. So you have this kind of stuff built in really well, right? And then it's the software. I used to be a Windows kind of guy. I can't use Windows anymore. It boggles my mind. I think Apple now is that they have the software that requires this SMB, right? Because you can put everything on iCloud, you can run your mail server, everything else. If you do know how to do that, get away from Google sort of things or Microsoft and run your services that way, you can run it just fine and have it all in one shot.
Yeah, a really good article yesterday, how to repurpose your old MacBook, make it a mail server. Why not? It's still got the power for that.
Yeah, I'll just do iCloud. I mean, if you bring it for the iCloud Plus, whatever that is, it's not expensive. You can put a domain, like a full domain on it.
I think I had like 2 terabytes or 4 terabytes for $9 a month. You can't beat it.
Yeah. I mean, for a business, it's not expensive. From the services point of view, all their apps work amazingly. I love Pages and spreadsheets and all that stuff, and it works. If you want to they finally got to a point where, like I always said, if you are full Microsoft Shop, it's one of the best things you can do because it's so integrated, right? I think Apple's finally getting there. Let's say if you're a full Apple Shop, it works.
Yeah, everything is there. All the software is basically included, so you don't have that.
You don't have to buy anything.
Buy with my 365 subscription. Oh, sorry, you can't use Word today, Colleen.
Yeah, I mean that's the right. It's all built in, so you can run a whole business on just a Mac, and it's fine. I think they're getting into it, which is I think they need to do a little bit of that. How to integrate that, but. It's interesting.
So let me ask the one, because as you're talking, I'm thinking about scenarios, and I'm thinking about like people who use full Microsoft suite and then they use something like Teams that's built into it. Do you think Apple would ever build something like that?
Yeah, it's called FaceTime.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
I mean,
well, for meetings, like you're a meeting guy. I'm not talking about meetings. I'm just talking about internal communication.
Oh, chatting?
Like chatting.
That's what
messages is for, you're going to say.
That's what messages is for. That's all built in.
It's not really the same, but I see where you were coming from. I'm coming from a different standpoint of managing a project, using something that's more all kind of together. Like Teams had a good idea, but it was just too much.
Well, that's the same thing with Slack and like any one of those, right? But if you think about it, you can do all those things in Apple products. Now, the problem with Apple products is they're starting to do these integrations really better, but it used to be so separate,
Yeah, so locked down that you couldn't even use an API or anything to kind of.
No, not even that. It wasn't like your reminders and your notes didn't work together.
Right.
Well, they do, but it's still not the kind of easy, right? Same thing with mail. You can drag a mail into a reminder or use the share sheet in it, and it will do that. Same thing with iMessage, right? It's starting to show up places. So they're doing that. They're actually twisting. And I think I think them saying we're going into SMB more is going to let us do a lot more integrations within their apps.
Yeah.
Which what I really, really want.
An integrated chat project management thing would be on my wish list, but hey, that's I got more important things to worry about right now. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the IT job market. As you probably know, folks, it's not looking great. The unemployment rate in the tech sector just took a pretty big jump. We're talking from 3.9 in December 2024 to a whopping 5.7 in January 2025. That is way higher than the overall jobless rate of 4%. Why is this happening? Well, according to the Wall Street Journal, we can thank our new overlords, automation and AI, for that. It looks like the robots are coming for our jobs after all. But wait, there's more. Meta, the company formerly known as Facebook, is making some big moves. It plans to lay off nearly 4,000 employees, or about 5% of its workforce. Yikes. Apparently, Zuckerberg told staff last month they'd be raising the bar. Translation, they're filtering out the low performers and focusing on AI investment this year. If you work at Meta, check your inbox. Layoff notices started going this week in most countries, including right here in the US. And it's not just Meta. Workday, the cloud-based HR software company, just laid off 1,750 employees last Wednesday. That's a big chunk, about 8.5% of their workforce. CEO Carl Eisenbach said they need a new approach for the current market. And what are they focusing on? You got it, AI talent. So what does this mean? The tech industry has experienced some significant changes. Companies are tightening their belts and focusing on AI, and unfortunately, that means a lot of people are losing their jobs. It's a tough time for tech workers, but if you're in AI or machine learning, you might be in luck. That's where the action is right now. Remember, if you're in the industry, keep your skills sharp and maybe brush up on that AI knowledge. Man, this is a depressing episode.
This story was good. Yeah, I mean, tech has been having issues in that. I mean, that was coming in reality. Since AI started popping up all over the place, it's automation, right? Automation has been coming for a lot of jobs over the years. Now it's coming for white collar, but it's just given.
I can tell you, as a graphic designer, it is chewing us alive. It is eating our breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Nobody wants to pay for it because they can do it themselves with AI, which is,
and it's good enough.
And that's enough.
The whole point. It's good enough.
You deal with plenty of it's good enough people, and suddenly you're not making money as a graphic designer like you used to. And it's
I mean, it's there. You can't help it. It's going to be more and more and more involved, and it's getting better and faster and stuff like that. It's the tricky part is, as a graphic designer or anybody else, like, you have to be the consultant, right? We can use AI if you want to, but it's the strategy, and AI will give you basic strategy, but there's a human element to stuff.
Yeah,
because that's the way you got to play.
Nuances and things that AI just doesn't quite get this week.
Right. At least this week. At some point, like, where is this going?
Yeah.
Like, we don't just do when you work. Okay. Well, how do you survive? Like, where are we going with this?
It's really strange. I know. I talk about the struggles that I have with it, but I love using AI for certain things. I played with Adobe Firefly last night. I took one of my old hand lettering illustrations. You take the illustration, I put it in there, you do a prompt that says, make steam come out of the coffee cup. 5 minutes later, I had this illustration that I had done 5 or 6 years ago, and it was animated. I'm like, I could repurpose all my old work and make animations out of them. I mean, it really opens a lot of doors creatively if you use it properly. Now, if you're using it just to bust out logos and do stuff.
I think it's like where it's not going to be right. Where it's not going to be good is human imagination or human things, right? You can't replace that.
Nope. You
just can't. And that goes not only for creative fields, that goes for business too. Like, you're going to replace counting and like the task is there, but you still need people to be like, hey, how we imagine it. There's a whole bunch of ways. It's just you got to twist that into what the future would look like.
Yeah. So the promise of AI was it's going to take away the mundane tasks, which I think it's doing a lot of that. The problem is a lot of people are employed doing mundane tasks.
And tests.
And that is
so now what? Right?
Now what?
Like
right?
now what?
What do these people do? Like that is really the big question. Like where does someone go? You've been working for a company for 25 years doing mundane tasks. Okay, great. You somebody who was comfortable sitting in a chair for 25 years. Good for you. Suddenly, Karen, you need to have a talk. Karen's gone because Karen has been replaced by AI.
And I think this is a bigger problem than, and this is going to sound weird, but like automating in factories,
Yeah. Yeah. The person or the company that can come up with how to revitalize this now abandoned workforce is going to be the winner in the next 2 years.
Well, right. Like this is what I'm talking about, the factory side of it, right? Factories got automation, so they retrain people to do something else or whatever else is this, right? Where do you take an accountant that's been doing books or accounting for 20 years, but still has 10, 15 years to go to retire? Where do you train that person in?
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. And the older workforce, some of them are very resistant to that kind of stuff, which creates another barrier. But anyway, that's probably a whole other podcast. Let's move on to something a little happier. Netflix is eyeing podcasts. All right, podcast junkies, Netflix might be coming for your ears and your eyeballs. That's right. The streaming giant is reportedly dipping its toes into the video podcast game because apparently dominating TV and movies just isn't enough. Word on the street is they're shopping around looking to license video podcasts like a kid in a candy store. Why? Because they saw YouTube raking in cash from podcasters and decided they want a piece of that juicy, juicy pie. Rumor has it they even tried to woo Alex Cooper of Call Her Daddy fame, but she swiped left and took Sirius XM's money instead. Tough break, Netflix. But hey, with deep pockets and a habit of throwing cash around, they're not likely to give up anytime soon. Why video podcasts? Well, it's cheaper content. Compared to scripted shows, podcasts are a steal. Example A right here. Regular content. Podcasts keep coming out week after week, which keeps viewers engaged. Ad revenue potential. Duh, ads. Basically, Netflix is looking for a way to boost its content library and ad revenue without breaking the bank. And of course, YouTube's dominance. Netflix is late to the game. YouTube's killing it in the video podcast world. It's actually bigger than Spotify and Apple right now. And tons of podcasts are going video, especially those talk shows that Gen Z loves. So what could Netflix do? They could license existing shows like they do with the YouTube show, The Amazing Digital Circus. Create originals, something like Max's Smartless on the Road based on the popular podcast. Go exclusive. Offer shows that are only on Netflix or at least debut there first. Think Joe Rogan. The big challenge is finding available stars. All the huge podcasters are already locked up in big deals. Also, Netflix isn't going to dethrone YouTube anytime soon, but it's possible they could offer some sort of creator-led section or even a free ad-supported version to compete. The bottom line is podcasting landscape is about to get more crowded. Whether Netflix succeeds remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure, the streamers are coming. Is it a smart move or just another streamer chasing the shiny object? My vote is this is a winner. The bell's back, Bart. I brought the bell back.
The bell is back.
Bell is back.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at, what is it? YouTube just released that more people are watching it on YouTube than anything else out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's coming. I think people are looking at regular TV as I haven't watched. The only thing I really watch is like and I watch it on YouTube. I watch the late night shows in the morning, but I watch it on YouTube, either on my iPad or the TV. I don't really watch TV.
What do you just watch the highlights or you watch the whole episode?
No, just usually just the beginning of the show.
Right.
It's the monologue.
Gotcha.
That's it. I literally watch the monologue, and maybe I'll watch if there's a guest I want to hear from. Yeah. Other than that, that's it. That's like it for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do not watch live TV. We have Hulu only because of sports.
Yeah, that's literally it. I mean, and
Hulu Plus. I get the German soccer through ESPN Plus, and we watch, of course, NFL football and as much baseball as they will allow me to watch on regular TV without MLB sticking their nose and switching games around.
Which actually reminds me, it's about time to T-Mobile give us MLB.
Yeah, right.
It's that time of the year.
Get your free MLB subscription if you're a T-Mobile subscriber.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not put it out there? I mean, some of that content is becoming bigger and bigger, and people are watching more podcasts and hearing from people and not just having this like.
Yeah, I agree with this, and I think it will introduce Netflix watchers to a new type of content. You know, some people aren't really in the podcast ecosphere like we are. You know, I think some people say, "Oh, what is this? You know, what are these people talking about?" And then they'll suddenly they'll get into podcasts. So I think it's a great move.
Yeah.
All right, we got time for one more quick story. Tesla sales down. What? The electric car giant is hitting some serious speed bumps in early 2025. And by speed bumps, we mean full-blown sales nosedives that would make even Elon's Twitter stock look stable. Tesla sales are in a free fall. In Europe, it's an absolute bloodbath. Germany alone saw a 59% drop in Tesla sales. But wait, there's more. In UK, France, Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Denmark, and Portugal all feeling the chill with an average decline of 47.5%. That's not exactly the kind of market dominance Tesla fans were hoping for. And it's not just Europe. Down under in Australia, the company managed to scrape together just 739 deliveries in January 2025, a 33% drop from last year. The once mighty Model 3, it tanked a jaw-dropping 63%. Even in sunny California, Tesla's home turf, the supposed EV paradise, the numbers are looking grim. For all of 2024, Tesla registered fewer cars in every single quarter compared to the previous years. If you can't dominate California, where can you? All right, so just to figure out what the culprits are, the competition is actually competing. We got Chinese cars, we got Rivian, you've got some America finally woke up and started making EV cars. Then you have the Elon problem, Elon just being Elon. We could do a whole podcast on that. And production chaos. Tesla is switching the new Model Y design and it's causing headaches instead of hype. But don't worry, folks. Tesla swears it's making a comeback in 2025. They're even working on a budget-friendly model because nothing says premium brand like scrambling to sell a discount version to stay afloat. The takeaway, Tesla's in trouble, but it's not just yet. Expect more drama, more Twitter meltdowns, and maybe a comeback. All right, I got a Tesla. Elon Musk walks into a bar, buys it, fires half the staff, announces they'll only take Dogecoin. He'll probably call it last call X, because just like Twitter, he'll slap an X on it, claim it's revolutionary, and insist it's the future of drinking. Go ahead, Bart. We got 5 minutes left. Go ahead.
Oh boy. Well, the competition. Sales of EVs are actually, I think, up. I haven't looked at the numbers. Competition cut up. You know, there's some good cars out there now, and stuff like that. And you know, Elon's the problem. Their Cybertruck really destroyed them. You know, and Model 3 and Y, and the new Y is pretty. It's kind of nice. It's actually improvement, but it's the problem with Elon, right? That's really the play. Plus, there's like manufacturing issues, and then everybody's looking now at all the Chinese EVs, and it's like, holy crap, like they're so just nice. Also, Tesla's been talking about a cheaper version forever, and it's never going to deliver. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to be on Mars by now.
Well, thinking about cars. I mean, he's been talking about, I think, Model 2 for years. He's been talking about a new Roadster forever, and that disappeared.
Did the Roadster never come out?
No.
Roadster never came out. And people put deposits down on that.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with the Cybertruck. Cybertruck is just, it's having issues. It's all over the place, right? Like, Model 3 and Y are still the best selling for them. It's always have been because they're decent cars. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of issues with those things, and competition itself. There's so many that people don't like those kind of cars. They want a regular car that's happened to be EV. Like, that's really where people are. They're not used to, like, the change from a regular car to what Tesla is nuttiness, right?
It's a little drastic. And
people still want a regular feeling car that happens to be right. And the other thing is the car you kind of want right now.
And I've heard, so everyone touts, it's almost maintenance free, but when you have to swap that battery out, I've seen some pretty big invoice.
That's not, yeah, but that's a lot of years ahead. That's not a 3-4 year thing. It's like 10 years before you have to do it.
Okay.
It's not that hard. And they're maintenance free.
I drive 2015 Nissan Rogue, so I don't. How
It's maintenance. Trust me, this is maintenance free. But your best car right now to buy in reality is a hybrid. Gas electric, a plug-in hybrid.
My next
a
car,
plug-in hybrid, because that's where it actually plays. And if you look at all the cars that are coming out of EVs coming out of China, they have a gas power engine to charge the battery. So your distance is bigger, like all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely those kind of hints that
I think
actually
those
is better
types
than
of
anything else.
hybrids make more sense right now because, again, the one problem that most people have converting is the range anxiety.
Yeah, but that's because you look at it.
I
As,
know.
I hate when people are like, "Oh, what about when I go on a trip?" I'm like, "You're on a trip once or twice a year. Relax. You go 10 miles out of the house every day.
Or
you're fine. I am pragmatic because you come home, you plug it in, and it's charged the next morning. It's just silly comparison.
All right, closing thoughts.
Anyway,
on Tesla. Closing thoughts on Tesla.
I have none.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. If you like the podcast, make sure to tell your friends and share. If you prefer the video experience, please check out our YouTube channel. We'll be rolling out the newsletter, which was supposed to come out this week, but things happen. But it'll be where you can get the show notes and updates on new podcasts. And lastly, check us out on all the socials. The links are in the show notes. We finally set them up. Bart, closing thoughts for this week.
Oh, we have to do it one more time, buddy. Go Birds.
Go Birds. One more time. Go Birds. Are you going to the parade?
No,
I'm not going to the parade here. If I wanted to pee on my shoe, I'd stay home and do it.
Okay, and we end with that.
All right. We'll see you next week.
I want him to pee on my shoe.
What did you do?